They don't need to hit you. They just need to trigger you. Because if they can predict your reaction, they can control the outcome. Say the right insult, and you explode. Withdraw their attention, and you chase. Apply just enough silence, and you break. You think you're deciding. You're not. You're reacting on autopilot. To patterns you never rewrote. To emotions you never trained. That's not power. That's programming. And here's the truth. The most dangerous people in the world aren't the loudest. They're the ones who respond with nothing while the entire room collapses around them. Still, focused, unshaken. That's not detachment. That's sovereignty. And if you want to own your life, you must own your reflexes. Because every high-pressure moment reveals what you serve, your law or your trigger. Let's train a new reflex. Not soft, not reactive, but sovereign. You think your reactions are yours, but most of them were installed. Since childhood, you've been taught, smile when uncomfortable, apologize even when you're right, rush to fix what makes others feel tense. And so you did, again and again, until the behavior became automatic. Now, someone raises their voice. You shrink. Someone pulls away, you chase. Someone questions your worth, you over-explain. That's not instinct. That's conditioning. Society doesn't need to cage you when it can just trigger you. It knows your weak spots, your need to be liked, your fear of being misunderstood, your addiction to approval. So it builds a map. Push here, they panic. Pull here, they comply. And soon your emotions aren't tools, they're levers. Your energy is no longer directed. It's extracted. Example, you receive a cold message. No emoji, no warmth. Immediately, your mind races. Are they mad at me? So you respond. Fast. Over-explain. Over-correct. But you weren't in danger. You were just trained to see disconnection as threat. Another example. Someone disrespects you in public. Your body tenses. You want to fight back. Prove your worth. But pause. What if your reaction is exactly what they want? Here's the trap. The more predictable your reflex, the more usable you are. Not as a person, as a tool. And no matter how aware you think you are, if you haven't retrained your responses, you're still operating on someone else's code. It's time to burn it. Not with rage. With precision. Let's begin. Every power move starts in a pause. Between trigger and reaction exists a tiny space. Most never enter it, because that space feels like death to the ego. Silence, uncertainty, loss of momentum. But in that space is where your sovereignty begins. The Stoics knew this. Epictetus said, "It's not things that disturb us, it's our judgment of them. Judgment lives in the gap. Rush it, and you're ruled. Enter it, and you rule." Here's the shift. You don't need to react. You need to observe, not to delay, but to decide what deserves your energy. Example, someone insults you. Your old reflex, defend. New code, pause. Let the silence hold. Let them feel their own noise. Then, if necessary, respond from ground, not fire. Another example, you feel ignored. Your nervous system itches to reach out. fix the narrative. But instead, you step back. You let absence speak. You let discomfort reveal the truth. This is the gap, a place where instinct gets filtered through law, not emotion, where urgency dies and clarity sharpens. Every time you choose not to react, you rewrite your code. You build muscle. You build control. And soon, your silence won't just be absence, it will be directional, deliberate, undeniable. Let's build the reflex that lives here. True power doesn't flinch. It executes without noise, without story, without seeking consensus. Most people hesitate in high-pressure moments because they wait to feel safe before making a move. But sovereign reflexes don't need safety. They're forged in clarity, trained long before the trigger arrives. You don't rise in the moment. You fall to your level of training. So what's the formula? Step 1. Pre-program your principle. Know what you stand for before they test it. If someone lies, I stay silent. If someone provokes, I hold frame for 10 seconds. Step 2. Rehearse the threat. Visualize the scenario. Feel the panic rise. Now, rehearse, not reacting, until stillness becomes instinct. Step 3. Choose response over reaction. Reflex doesn't mean emotionless. It means aligned, not soft, not delayed, just precise. Example: you're insulted at a dinner. You don't defend. You observe. Then, with 3 words, you end the room. Example: your ex texts you a trap. Old you type. Delete. Type. Overthink. Now, you look at it. You breathe. You delete it without opening. Not out of spite, but sovereignty. Because when your nervous system is trained, you don't spiral. You select. You don't seek relief. You enforce direction. This is the sovereign reflex. Not robotic, not passive, but unshakably pre-decided. So next time pressure comes, you won't react. You'll reveal. Let's go further. Calm isn't weakness, it's strategy. In a chaotic room, the calmest one isn't passive, they're calculating. Most people explode to feel powerful. You withdraw to watch them unravel. Because when you don't react, they don't know where you stand. And uncertainty is the ultimate psychological pressure. Example: someone raises their voice to dominate. You don't match their volume. You lower yours. You pause longer. Now they're reacting to your stillness. Another. They expect you to respond instantly, to explain, to chase, to prove. Instead, you let silence expand. Let discomfort do the talking. Let them question their own story. This is tactical imbalance. You remove your energy, and suddenly, they're forced to carry the weight of the moment. Because silence is not absence. It's presence without permission. It says, I see what you're doing, but I'm not playing your game. I'll win without moving. You become unreadable. And what they can't read, they can't manipulate. They reach. You don't flinch. They escalate. You stay cold. They fall apart, and you never raised your hand. This is how presence becomes pressure. How stillness becomes dominance. How self-command becomes social control. You don't demand respect. You design conditions where disrespect can't breathe. Let's close this. Every room is ruled by the one who reacts least, not because they don't feel, but because they've trained their nervous system to serve their law, not their fear. You've been taught to react fast, to prove, to fix, to explain. But here's the truth. Speed is not strength. Silence is. Because in silence, you hold the frame. You see the angles. You break the pattern. This isn't about being passive. It's about becoming unplayable. So here's your task. Pick one situation where you always react. Write a new reflex for it. When criticized, 5-second pause. Return with one sentence or none. Practice silence as default. Not to punish, to reclaim power. Observe the room next time you enter. Don't try to belong. Don't try to charm. Just exist with weight. And watch how everything adjusts. Your presence should not chase comfort. It should shape tension. Because when you no longer react, they no longer control. And in a world full of noise, your first weapon should be stillness.